Welcome everyone to the Passive Income Show. Today, Phil, Ebner, and I are going to be talking about Udemy Pricing Change 2.0, version 2.0. And this is the
2.0.
change that just happened yesterday. So we're going to be talking about what we think about it, what we're going to do, what the strategy is to work with this new 2.0 change. So
Yeah.
at any point in the call, we'd love for you to just ask us questions by typing into the group chat. You'll find that in the little blue dialog box in the upper left. Click that, and then you'll be able to see what people are saying and what people are chatting. So we're going to just go ahead and get started. And Phil, you've actually done a whole video on this, so why don't you get started with a little bit of what your thoughts are with regard to the new pricing change, which is a lot like the original pricing, right?
Yeah, right. Just like a quick recap, because for everyone watching, they probably know already, but the new pricing structure is we can charge between $20 and $200 for any of our courses at $5 increments still. So 20, 25, 30, 35, up to 200. We, as instructors, can discount to $10. There's no limit anymore on a percentage of how much we can do discounts for our courses. So we can actually put our courses for $200 and discount them down to $10. On the Udemy side of things, they are bringing back the fixed price discounts, which means they could make all courses a single set price during a promotion. So that could mean they could sell all courses on the platform that have opted into their promotions for $10 or for $15 or $20 or whatever they want. And then for their normal promotions, there is a limit of 75%, which I don't really understand why they even have that discrepancy or that difference. And if they have fixed price deals and can charge $10 for my $200 course, I don't know why for other promotions they're limiting themselves to 75%. Not that that's a bad thing. I actually like some sort of limit, but it's just interesting to me that they did that. And I think that's it. Was there any other kind of thing a part of this that I did not cover? $10 limit. Yeah, but it's going back to kind of how it was before this latest pricing change. We could charge up to $300, and we could actually, I think it was $9 to $300, but we could discount even below $10. And so the positives I see are that this does give us that bigger band of being able to charge for our courses and have a difference have the price show a difference in the actual quality or content of a course. And that's what I'm most excited about now. I can actually put my higher end 15-hour courses that are worth $100 or $200, I can put that at that price point. And then I could put my smaller courses at a lower price point, which I like because I have a big complete After Effects course that I want to charge a lot more than my smaller, very specific skill type After Effects courses. Or same with my photography courses. I have a complete 14, 15-hour photography masterclass now, and I want to charge over $100 for that. And then for smaller specific photography courses like food photography or ones that I'm going to come out with in the future like landscape photography, I want to charge a little bit less for those. So before, in the past few months, when I was charging $30 for my masterclass and $20 for my food photography class, there just wasn't enough of a difference. So I'm excited. I'll just be forthright that I was actually supportive of the last pricing change, and I thought there was a lot of good aspects of it. I think the limiting at the bottom of the discounting below $10 was a really important thing that happened with the last pricing change, and that continues into this pricing change. But it wasn't working for a lot of instructors, and it must not have been working very well across the board because Udemy kind of jumped on board and made these changes so quickly. I think they had us go sign their new terms where they don't have to give us 30 days before they make changes to the course platform anymore. And I think that part of the reason is so that they can do these kinds of changes in the future, and specifically this one, where they want to change the pricing structure and they want to do it fast. They don't want to wait even another month. I want to hear what your thoughts are, and then we'll talk more about strategy, but I'm just interested to see, is it going to jump back to exactly how it was? Will the types of promotions be exactly how they were? Will there always be a $10 or a $15 promotion going on from Udemy? Will everyone charge $200 for their courses and have a 90% discount when they launch a course? There's lots of questions, and even if all those things are true, will it work? Will people continue to buy courses the same way that they did before? Are students smart enough now to know that that's how it was? Like, it's kind of gaming the system, and will they be smart enough to realize, like, well, this is kind of weird that they're going back to this? I don't know. There's a lot of questions up in the air, but mostly I'm again excited about this, and I'm trusting Udemy that they're doing the right thing again, and we'll see.
Yeah, I'm glad you went through that summary, Phil, because you're really good at that, at summarizing the process. And then what I can do is kind of come back in with the read between the lines approach of what is happening. We saw the survey come out where they were asking instructors, hey, we want to know what you think about the pricing change, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like easing back into, you know what, we might have to make another change really quick. So I get the feeling it was a combination of the pricing change being too dramatic and too quick. There were too many changes that happened all at one time. In marketing, what you want to do is you want to make one change and then see how that plays out and get some data from it, and then make a different change and see how that plays out. You don't want to make too many changes all at one time, because then the data gets muddied. So they clearly, last summer they did some pricing tests. Then they came out with the kind of dramatic price change, and then they kind of are backtracking now and going, whoa, you know, this really hurt revenue. This is me reading between the lines. I'm not saying this is what actually happened, but me reading between the lines is saying, wow, this revenue is really down. Maybe this change was not such a good idea. And then they're kind of righting the ship by going back to a hybrid of what was working before. Except there's a big caveat to this, and that is that maybe it wasn't working that well before, because November Black Friday, I know I can speak to this. My Black Friday this November was good, but it wasn't incredible like the previous Black Friday had been. And Phil, you probably have a couple more years beyond that to know Black Friday promotions. So it seemed to me like in November what happened was a lot of people had gotten used to the $10, $15 bandwagon. Let's just wait till the sale comes along and then buy. And so now when Black Friday comes along, it's not a big deal. It just wasn't that special. You know,
yeah,
so,
I think that was true for last year after being on for, I guess this will be my 4th Black Friday, and the first two, I mean, the first one I had like one course, and I don't even think I realized there was a Black Friday sale, and then the second year was crazy, really good. It like was double any of my other previous months. I had a pretty good Black Friday last month, but I think I saw just from talking to other instructors too that there was that sort of people were tired of the constant deals, and if Black Friday works when it's the best deal of the year, but it doesn't work when it's just like the deal of every other month. So right. This Black Friday might be good if they're smart and they don't do a ton of $10 or even $15 promotions for the next couple of months, which I don't think they should, because they have kind of an opportunity actually to have a really amazing Black Friday and do a really good deal then. I was actually almost thinking before they even did this change that they should still have a fixed price Black Friday sale. If it had stayed the same, the $20 to $50 range and all what we were in previously, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if they actually did do a crazy Black Friday sale, fixed price? So we'll see how that goes with Black Friday this year. But yeah, I'm a little bit weary of the fatigue, the buyer's fatigue of the constant deals happening. But again, it was working and making people a lot of money. I mean, I was making more money back then, and I think the $10 floor will prevent the average selling price from going down too far. It might decrease to what it was from the past few months, but I don't think it's going to decrease as dramatically or as rapidly as it was prior to April this year.
Right, right. Yeah, the thing I see about Black Friday is you've got a diminishing returns over time by giving too many sales too often. So I think you're right. I think that if during the summertime they kind of, take it easy on those $10 and $15 sales, make them occasional, not too often. Of course, they're the ones with the hand on the faucet. They're like throttling it up, throttling it down. They're trying to determine where's the right point to sell for themselves as a company. That's the thing about being with a new company, a startup, shall we say. And I have to differentiate this because it's not just a startup, it's a startup in a new kind of field. They're pioneering online education. So it's even potentially more turbulent than if it was just a startup, let's say selling shoes, like Zappos, for example. Okay, everybody buys shoes, everybody needs shoes. This is different. Online learning is it's kind of an impulse buy. And the way you encourage the impulse is give them a big deal, a great sale that they can jump on, right? But then if that's the norm, it really starts to affect things. So one of the things that I think Udemy could and should do, in my opinion, is consult with top information marketers that are already out there, that are already selling millions of dollars worth of their information courses and training courses, that have been doing it for 15 years. The information marketing business is not that old. It's maybe about 20 years old in terms of online, I should say. But there are some established people who are doing millions and millions of dollars worth of sales of one course that have analytics, they have data, they know what works, they've split tested like crazy, they know what color the button should be when you click the buy button. I mean, they know a lot of detail about how this stuff works. And I think that when a startup gets the sense that they are like, we're the pioneers, we're the leaders, we're the ones that are going to chart this course, but they don't look at existing data or existing similar related businesses that could help them, then they're going to be kind of wandering, and so it's one of the points I made to one of the people that I have contact with at Udemy, that they are kind of pioneering something new. What they're pioneering really is the marketplace model for online courses. But the information products model of training online is extremely similar to that. And one good vendor of that is ClickBank, clickbank.com. They've been around the longest. If you were to set up a contract or an agreement with ClickBank and say, okay, can we get some data? Can we work with you? Can you consult with us and let us know which of these ways works and what doesn't work? Then they could get a lot of valuable data without having to go through this, let's trial and error this and iterate it to find out what works. That word just bugs me. Iterate bothers me for some reason.
I agree, and I get the sense that they knew what was happening and they made the decision for the previous price change because they themselves saw some things happening in their market. But I don't know if they did enough analysis or brought in teams, because I know I think Udemy Live, in one of the sessions or something, they mentioned how they really want to bring in like a team of people to analyze all their data and to continue to see what pricing should look like in the future. And when they said that, I kind of thought to myself, well, wow, like why didn't we do that already for this current pricing
Right.
change.
That's what I was
So
thinking.
in the same vein, it's like, yeah, I think you know, they're smart people, obviously, and they built an amazing platform, but like you said at the very beginning, I think the last pricing change might have been a little bit too dramatic of a change, and so we're stepping backwards. They're definitely open that this is your unfavorite word, but this is an iteration of this, and there might be more iterations of the pricing on Udemy, and this is how it is going to be. Hopefully for a little while. Hopefully it will work for a while. One thing that I know they are doing it to try to make it simple, but one thing I'm a little bit interested in is the $5 increments for the prices we can choose. I see that how it simplifies it. It simplifies it for instructors. It doesn't give us as many options, and it simplifies it for students who, you know, will see a course for used to see courses for 197, 199, 198, 195, 200. But but now going forward, I'm like, what the heck am I going to price my courses at? Am I going to pick, if I want it at the upper tier, am I going to pick $200? Or am I going to pick 195, which is a little bit better maybe I think I'm leaning towards 195, but I don't know. Do you have any sort of insight on that? Because there has been a lot of research that I've read that seems to point that the like a 99 or a 97 price point would actually sell better than a $100 or $200 or
Yeah,
95.
this is a case, one of those cases where I would point to wisdom from existing sources. There is an existing, there's a gentleman named Russell Brunson who sells millions of dollars worth of information, who split tests with his partner, split test prices. Like, they split test religiously. And the reason they split test so much is because they can make gains in their business with the same traffic, same people coming through. They can make huge gains by just determining, oh, you know what, 197 is a better price than $200. That you would think that a $3 difference wouldn't make a difference, but it could make tens of thousands of dollars of difference at the volume that they're doing business at. You know, so and what they came up with was that until you get to about the, if I remember correctly, until you get to about the above $1,000, ending a price in a 7, like a 97, 197, 147, outsells ending the price in a solid number. So if I were in charge of Udemy, I'd say you can set your price whatever you want, and here are some guidelines of things that have actually worked. Now, having said that, we also need to have the caveat that what works for some industries may not work for all industries. Everything should be split tested on your own. You need to determine your own, your own data. But I really like when I can see that somebody has millions and millions of transactions, and they've been able to split test and find that a price ending in 97 or 17, 27, 37, 47 far outsells a price ending in a solid number. And it's little things like that that when you add them up and pile them up on top of each other, now you have made a non-converting, or I should say a non-ROI process into an ROI process, But so I see these things, and it's a little frustrating from my end, because all I've done all my life is study marketing, and especially when I got online marketing, and I'm like, dang it, if I could just do this, this, and this, things would be better. But in
I
a
mean,
way,
yeah, I don't know what they should have done. It almost would have been. I think that maybe leaving it more of a free market, like any price between $20 and $200 might have been better, but almost even more like a tier, and using the 7, maybe we should have just had options for like 4 or 8 tiers, and that's all we could choose, because I doubt that many people are going to choose $85 or $80 for their course. Maybe they will, but maybe we should have just had the option for 25, 50, 75, 100, or maybe like 27, 47, 77, and 97. I don't know. They're trying to simplify it, but in the end, it's not that simplified. And I think they might think, and I don't know, they might think that, well, on our platform, it's all going to be ending in fives or zeros, and that's fine. It doesn't really matter. But I think the research shows that even if it's just like, it's not even a comparison of a $97 course versus a $100 course. If you see both of them, the person's going to automatically pick the $97 course. Is if they have one option, they're just more likely to buy it if it's ending in a 97 or a 7 or a 9. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing. Yeah.
It's funny. I was thinking about this pricing thing today for some reason. Maybe it's because I saw your video that was talking about, you know, the pricing changes, and you talked about the tiers. But I was thinking, you know, I wonder how much of this decision of the ending in fives or zeros is coming from programming point of view, programmers that you know, build the site. Because I see a lot, especially a lot of tech companies and a lot of Silicon Valley startups that are they're almost more ruled by programmers than they are ruled by marketers, or, you know, they're a little too tech intensive. And so, you know, I think of my son who's really getting into coding and programming, and he's talking about binary, and it's either ones or zeros. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe it's fives or zeros. Maybe that's a programming thing where they're thinking, oh, this just makes logical sense. You want a 5 or a 0. It's a logical way to organize, you know, the structure of the marketplace or whatever, when you should be consulting marketing people for marketing decisions, not programming people. I see that a lot, especially with sales copy and how things are laid out on a page, and how, for example, I just saw the little thing on the Udemy Faculty Lounge where they said, hey, get this Adobe, you know, thing. If you buy this course, you get 20% off. I'm sorry, you broke up.
Page. It was an ad for Adobe Creative Cloud, I think, an application on an actual course landing page.
Right. And the idea is that if you buy this course, you'll get this 20% off Adobe Cloud or whatever, right? And it's like this little offer. Well, then people are up in arms like, wait a minute, that's my course, and you guys are putting this additional ad. Why am I not getting income from that, and whatnot? And that's a valid argument. And yes, it is a little test that they're running. My point, however, is a marketer would say, don't put that ad right at the right below the promo video and right above the description of the product. Put it at the decision point towards the bottom of the description, towards the bottom of where they're finally making a decision to buy this course, to enroll, and then this is like an extra sweetener. Don't put it front and center before they've even had a chance to see what the course is about. You know what I mean? So it's just, that's the thing is, it's a programming decision instead of a marketing decision, and there's so much that needs to be done in general on this site that comes more from a marketing psychology point of view that is not being done. Now I know it sounds like we're kind of complaining about a lot of things, but this is a good time to do it, right? Because we're just seesawing back from another change to another change, and it's like, okay, here's a time to vent a little bit about some of these things that we're noticing.
Yeah, and we could talk all about like the things we're excited about, because ultimately I think revenues might increase, but just to say for the 20% is interesting. I didn't even see if it was like a class for a program in Adobe Creative Cloud. It should have been, but maybe like having those types of offers not even on that page, or maybe it's like a, if you buy this class you also get 20% off kind of thing, or it's an upsell later. That seems to be something that would make more sense. And I mean, I think something like that is a great idea. It opens up a lot of classes on Adobe to get more students who don't have Creative Cloud or think it's too expensive. But I think going back to pricing, let's just talk about what our strategies are going forward next week when the prices actually change. You probably went through and saw they have the page now where you can change all the prices on your courses. What were you thinking if you already did that, and what kind of pricing were you using for your courses?
Well, it's funny because I went in there and I changed the prices, and most of my courses I priced at a minimum of $30. And my courses, I need to let people know, I have 40 courses. Okay, I had 43, but Blab shut down, and 3 of my courses were about Blab.
No.
So I had to unpublish my 3 Blab courses, which is funny. The same thing happened with Google Helpouts. Google had this great way of consulting with people and charging for them. It was called Google Helpouts, and they shut that down, so I had to shut down my course. But anyway,
That is sad.
Yeah,
But kind of funny.
it is both sad and funny. Let's see, that's sunny. No, it's not sunny. It's fad. Whatever. Anyway,
Fad.
but the point is that dang it, what was I talking about?
Pricing.
Yeah. So I went in and I changed the price. I made most of mine $30. I did have a couple that I was willing to sell at $100, and I think only one that I put at $200. Now, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, because in pricing in the very original pricing, you wanted to charge as much as possible for your courses, knowing that you were rarely going to get a full price sale, but knowing that when those Udemy sales came along and when your promotional emails went out, you would be able to take advantage of that big price difference from, $300, get it for $15, or get it for $19 or $20 or whatever. So now, I mean, do we go back to that? Which it kind of sucks, because when I first saw that the big winners in Udemy were doing that, I thought, well, I guess I got to do the same thing to compete. I mean, it's an uneven playing field if everybody's listing their course at 300, but they're selling them for 10.
Yeah.
How do you compete? You can't sell yours for 100 because nobody will probably buy it at 100 when there's all these sales going on at $10. It's really tricky.
Yeah, and then because if everyone's buying the courses for a discount between $10 and $20, and yours is discounted 90%, but because you have it listed at $100, but someone else's is 95% off because they're listed at 200, then theirs looks like a better deal, and that's why I think people are going to jump up to charging $200 or putting that list price at $200, because with all the promotions that I'm sure will be happening, I don't understand why we would put our courses at like $100 or $150 even, because we're not going to get those organic sales unless we are doing those sales ourselves. If we're promoting our course on Udemy for $150 or $90 or $100, then I can see that. But in terms of a strategy of trying to get the most Udemy sales from Udemy's promotions, I just see the charging higher working. So I think for me, I'm going to put the courses that I had at the top before at $300. I'm going to put those back up to $200. So those are my big complete After Effects, Premiere Pro, photography, DSLR video production courses. I'm going to put those at $200, and then I
lost you there, Phil.
Doing 100. Oh, can you hear me? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Yeah. So I saw Teresa saying that she's going to just leave her intro courses at $20, and I think before I went through and put my smaller courses at $50. But now that I think about it, maybe I should just leave my smaller courses at a really low price, $20, $25, to see if they still get some just organic sales at full price.
Here's what I'm thinking. And again, this is purely speculative. Unfortunately, as instructors, we're kind of left out here speculating. We can't really say I can't tell you with certainty pricing your top courses at 200 and then going down from there and maybe not making any courses under 100, that you should stay in the upper levels of it. I can't say that that's the right way, and I can't say that keeping your course prices lower is a good way, because you know why? It all depends on what Udemy's strategy is going to be with promotions. If they're going to go heavy with on-site sales, then it makes sense to price your courses as high as possible. If they're going to not do that as much and rely more on instructors promoting their own stuff, which they don't have a history of doing that, then it makes sense to lower your prices as low as possible and hope that people that come to the site will find your course organically and buy it for 20 or 30 bucks. I'm leaning towards what you've done, Phil, and that is I'm leaning towards, now that we're kind of thinking it through and talking it out, brainstorming, yeah, towards raising all my prices, and for a couple reasons. First of all, it doesn't make sense for me to promote my Udemy courses that live on Udemy when I can promote them on another platform where I get more of the revenue. It doesn't financially make sense under this paradigm. Under the version 1.0, what we just came from, it may have made more sense because the prices were reasonable, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. You can drive traffic there. People probably buy them for 20 or 30 bucks or whatever. The balance has skewed, though, to where I think Udemy is probably signaling that they want more control over the throttle, over the faucet, and they want to be able to control how sales do company-wide. And we've also seen that they don't give us a whole lot of heads up as far as what's coming down the road, what is their strategy, how much are they going to promote. So in the absence of knowing that and having that information, we've got to do what is most likely to work with what they're more likely going to do.
Yeah, right.
Weird, but
I guess one thing I just thought, though, is if they go back to just always having a fixed price sale every month or a couple times a month, then that, I think, strategy works well. But on the flip side, for all of their other promotions, their limit is 70%. And if our course is listed at $200, then 70% is $60, which is still pretty expensive. And so for all of those other promotions that they're doing, I mean, I'm guessing this includes all of their ads that they do, all the affiliate type sales. Those discounts are only going to be $60 for a $200 course, and so those sales might not work out that well right now. I'm trying to remember like what the percentage was back in the day of fixed price promotions versus just every other type of promotion. But if it's like a 50-50 split, then it might not be really a good idea to charge $200 for your very best. It's hard. It's like, do I do that for my very best course that I know would do really well on a fixed price deal, but at $60, I don't know if it's going to do that well.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see like how many fixed price sales do they really end up doing. If it goes back to the same old thing where it's every month, then yeah, charging high, listing high is the way to go, I think.
Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like all we can do right now is speculate on what's going to happen, and we have to play it by ear and kind of roll with how things are working out. One thing I guess I can pretty safely say, I think, is that they're not going to promote more than they used to promote on site-wide sales, and it used to be 1 or 2 site-wide sales a month, right? Was that right? So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah,
but I think that for some of us that have a lot of courses, it may be a good idea to just have a good range of pricing to see what happens, and range out your prices from like 30, 50, 100, 200, and lean more towards the bigger courses being in the higher levels, and then just seeing which of these courses how are they selling, how are they responding in a way, doing our own kind of a test as Udemy does their, does their changes in their promotions.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And I keep saying 70%, but I just looked at the page. Their percentage promotions are actually up to 75%. So they could sell a $200 course for $50.
Yeah.
Um,
We should look at some of these questions here too and see,
yeah, if
or
there's any
comments.
questions or if anyone wants to come on, this is Google Hangout. It's pretty easy to just to
Yeah.
unmute you guys if you guys want to jump on and have some thoughts or questions. I know a lot of you guys were posting some good stuff on the Facebook groups and pages the past 24 hours. I'm looking at my February income just to see if I could get any sort of sense of how they were promoting what were like fixed price sales versus not. Hmm.
Dan Vega says, pricing 1.0 change took a month to implement. Are you guys surprised this is happening 1 week from the announcement? No, I'm not surprised. I feel like the signals we've been getting, and again, you have to kind of read between the lines and kind of dig in a little bit, were that pricing was not, the change wasn't working out. It was too much too soon. And I think we all pretty much felt like it was too much too soon. Going from 300 down to 50, going from 10 up to 20, that's a very compact price range. And I also feel like in one of the announcements that was said, they talked about Udemy's mission, which is a great mission, and it's to something along the lines of help anyone learn whatever they want to learn and improve their life, blah, blah, blah. I said, man, that's an awesome mission statement for a nonprofit organization. But for a for-profit organization, you got to be careful, especially if you're talking worldwide, and the ability for people to buy courses worldwide. If you're making decisions as a business that are going to be usable worldwide, then your lowest common denominator is going to be way down here. I'm talking specifically in terms of pricing, and how are you going to make a profit? So I'm all for the idea of pricing bands, where I'm totally okay with my course selling for less if it's selling in underdeveloped countries. I'm totally okay with that. And I think it would be good if Udemy optimized for developed countries and then offered a different pricing tier for lesser developed countries. Because if you try to make the whole thing fit the whole world, that's going to affect profits negatively.
Yeah. I'm looking at February, and this is really interesting, and it's interesting looking back on this with the lens that I have now, and I'm seeing that most of the sales that I have are fixed price sales, but they have a lot of them, and it's not just that these aren't fixed price in the sense that it was maybe a site-wide deal, but
Right.
I'm looking at the coupon codes, and it's like big 119, and that was $19. So I'm assuming that was a $19 fixed price deal for all those courses. Big 115, same thing. That was $15. Confidence 19. That was actually that was my promo. But Learn Now 19. That was a $19 deal. There was like a bunch of $24 ones. So there's not many coupons that I'm seeing that were actually just percentage off deals. It's mostly fixed price deals that I'm seeing, at least in February, just from looking at my own sales.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I'm seeing though is a big increase or a decrease now in affiliate sales. So maybe this will also try to spur some affiliate sales with some higher price
that
courses.
price change must have really killed affiliate sales.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought of was, wow, you're just knocking that way down to between 20 and 50, and what are affiliates going to think about that? Because it costs money, man, to be an affiliate and to do it right. And I know, talking to Dennis Smith, and he was doing pretty well with affiliate marketing with his
Hmm.
websites that offer discounts and things like that. And that just really, hurt his affiliate business.
Yeah, I'm
So
seeing basically I just skimmed at the past few months since May, and my affiliate sales were about 50% what they were in February and March. So on the upside, I don't want to jinx anything, but I have a feeling revenue might be up for a lot of people, and I think that will be good. I don't think it's going to be just a light switch flip on where everybody who was making a lot of money back then will be making the same amount of money. I think this is kind of everything got shuffled around, and I'm hoping that all of us on this call and you and me, Dave, kind of go back to where they were and even more, because I've launched I don't know how many courses since March. So if those courses could start selling like they did back in February and January, then that would be amazing. But what my entire time I've been on Udemy, whatever happens next month is great. I'm not gonna that things are gonna go exactly how I expect them to go. So even though I'm saying I have an inkling that revenue will go up across the board, I don't think it's just going to revert by September to back to what it was before.
yeah,
We'll
I feel the
see.
same way. I feel like the change is a change for increasing revenue across the board. The revenue was at a certain level across the board. They made the version 1.0 change to pricing, and the revenue dropped. This is again my speculation, uh, but it's pretty safe to say I know most instructors' revenue dropped. Mine I felt like it's been pretty steady only because I have I think a variety and a large number of courses. But who's to say that I shouldn't have been making two or three or four times what I've been making? And I feel like that's been the case. I almost feel like the last year has been rough for us as instructors because in the summer of last year was the pricing tests, which affected things. And then Black Friday came along. I didn't do very well with Black Friday and was expecting to, and I cranked out a bunch of courses for that. And then no, January actually did really well, and
Hmm.
February, and then uh, another dip with
Yeah.
pricing change. So it's like been just one thing after another. When if this were, let's say, a more stable industry, because again it's new, and a more established company, meaning that they had all their, their everything in a row. They
Everything
knew what they
dialed
were doing.
in.
Yeah, dialed in. Who knows where the income would be? You know what I mean? So all that to say that I think I agree. I think that revenue is going to go up for instructors. I'm a little nervous about the way that it's going to go up. I'm a little nervous about them maybe overdoing. If they don't overdo $10 sales, I'll be happy. If they do $19 sales, I would love that. $27 sales, 20 whatever dollar sales, that would be totally awesome. Uh, and if they once in a while had a good reason to do a $10 sale, that would be okay. But I think that $10 has to be saved for Black Friday and New Year's sales to really have the impact that it has to have.
Yeah, I go like the past, like just what you're saying with my revenue. For probably the first 2 years, I saw that if I created a new course, then I would increase my revenue for that month by launching it, and then it would continue to contribute to increasing revenue every month after that. And so every time I created more courses, my total revenue or my monthly revenue would increase. But that stopped this year after I would say January, because I did have a pretty good Black Friday, and January was actually my best month ever on Udemy this year. But after that, I as I created and launched new courses, my total revenue didn't increase; it just maintained, and that continued to till today. I mean, I did drop about 20% or so after the pricing change, but then it maintained itself for since April. But I've been creating new courses, and I've been launching more courses than ever before. And so, like you, I imagine, well, what would have happened if pricing was the same and my promotions did the same?